Dad?
Daniel, first off, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
You don't mind working on your birthday?
You know, I get to do something that I love on my birthday, so, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, do you have any memorable stories of shooting a production on your birthday?
Oh, yeah. I was shooting Hawaii Five-0 one year on my birthday, and I don't usually, get a lot of surprise parties and things like that done, but in the middle of the day, they stopped shooting, and it was because they started to sing, and so that happens a lot on set. But the big surprise was my whole family came to set that day, and they brought with them a huge banana cream pie, and that's one of my favorite desserts. So it was a massive banana cream pie that was going to feed the entire crew and cast. And it was from one of my favorite bakeries, this restaurant called MW in Hawaii. And so we feasted on banana cream pie and had a great break in the day.
Wow. Well, when it's a passion project like this, like Butterfly, I feel like it's definitely not work, and it's something you want to celebrate with your big day. This has been a long time coming. I know your production company developed this series. You're an executive producer. It's also based on a graphic novel. I'd love to know your first exposure to the graphic novel and at what point you realized that this is something you wanted to realize in live action.
I had met with Stephen Christie, the head of Boom Comics and Boom Studios, early on, and my production company's timeline. And, we sometimes get set up on general meetings and things don't necessarily come of them, but he gave me this comic book and he said, this is something that we really love, and take a look. And it was Butterfly. And it was a story of a father and a daughter, and it was set in America and Europe. And I thought, this could be something interesting. But my area of interest is Asia. So I asked Stephen and the writer of the comic book, Arash Amel, whether or not they'd be open to switching it up. They said yes, and we were off to the races.
Wow. David and Rebecca obviously are at the forefront of this series. It's a series that obviously involves spies and espionage, but at its core, it's a family story. Yourself being a father of two, how did your personal experience being a father impact your portrayal of David?
It was an easy way into the relationship and the character. Some of the things that were going on in the story paralleled my own life in that, as a dad, I really try and make the best decisions I can for my family. But those decisions are not always the ones that are appreciated or correct in the eyes of my kids. And so I think David's the same way. He has the best of intentions, but he screwed up. And the ramifications of the choices that he made affected his daughter almost irrevocably.
Mm-hmm. You're a busy man right now, Daniel, because I've heard that Avatar Season 2 wrapped up production in May, and you went straight into Season 3?
Yeah.
Is there any status on Season 3's production?
We're in the middle of shooting it right now. In fact, I just flew in from Vancouver last night from shooting.
Middle of shooting, so like halfway through. What are we looking at in terms of timeline? The readers want to know. The readers want to know.
Where are we? We're about a third of the way through.
Mm-hmm. And is it cool to bring a character like that to live action? Obviously, you're originating a lot of characters in your career, but getting to work with source material. Obviously, you were a voice in the animated series as well. So getting to kind of bring it all together must feel super fulfilling.
Ozai's fun, because David is weighted down by his conscience. Ozai has no such issue. Ozai, he's all id. He just says what he thinks. He's not afraid to put his needs before others, and he's also a father who really doesn't listen to his own children. So he's slightly different from David in that David listens or believes he listens and wants to take Rebecca's well-being into his decision-making process. Ozai's focused only on his goals and how his children can help further them.
Yeah, I love that. You mentioned at the beginning, you pointed out the screen rant of it all, and that we've done coverage of your show. I don't know if you ever listened to any fan casts that happen on these websites, on these accounts. A lot of people want you to play Mr. Negative. Are you familiar with that at all?
I'd heard something about that over the past, 6 or 7 months, and I saw that. I've seen that people want, other Asian actors to play him as well, so I'm happy to be included in that conversation, but I haven't heard anything.
No, the fan art looks phenomenal.
Does it?
If you've seen yourself transformed with the white hair and the inverse and everything, it would be pretty cool.
Oh, it's interesting. I'm always up for an interesting role and an interesting project.
Yeah, and this project specifically, to wrap with Butterfly, to get back to the point at hand here, it was said that when you were developing the show, you wanted it to be a bridge between American and Korean cinema. You were able to bring actors like yourself to the forefront. You obviously worked in Hollywood for years. We were also able to introduce new Korean talent to Western audiences. I'd love to know, how do I wrap this all up here? How you feel that was a success with this project? Obviously, the audience will kind of dictate how it's viewed by the general public, but on set, when you called cut for the final time, when we fully wrapped, do you feel like you were able to make that bridge happen?
It's a specific point of pride to me that I'm able to introduce audiences to actors that they may not be familiar with, and that goes for Koreans to American audiences and vice versa. Entertainment is increasingly global, so the more that the world gets to know about talented performers, the better. And I've been fans of these actors for a really long time, so to be able to work with them and help bring them to new audiences is a thrill.
It's great how it's so accessible too, right? We're one click away. Back in the day, you have to track down the DVD, you gotta figure out how you're gonna rent it, get it shipped to you. Now it's just all on Prime Video.
That's part of the reason this show could be made. I don't think we could have a show like Butterfly 10 years ago because there would not be a willingness to have those kinds of international actors on an quote-unquote American show. So it tells you how far we've come in terms of our entertainment and how we view shows that are not necessarily from our own country. There's a greater openness to that than I think ever.
Yeah. It's going to be a thrill ride. I'm excited for audiences to see this one. Shout out for shooting on location too. It always makes a world of difference.
Oh, thank you. That was a challenge, but the best of challenges. And I got to live in Korea for 6 months, so that was really great.
Piper, to start with you, I want to know what motivates Juno. It seems like she's trying to fulfill her job, but at the same time, I get a sense of pursuit of vengeance in this series. Can you kind of tease what she's bent on?
I think Juno's bent on power. And she's tired of sharing it, and she finally runs this place, and she's not giving it up. So anybody that's going to get in her way it's going to be a real problem.
Mm-hmm. And the dynamic with David obviously being gone for 20 years.
I killed him 9 years ago.
Is she fully aware of his whereabouts? She's been keeping tabs?
No. When we start the show, I thought he was dead. So when he comes back, it's a real shocker.
Mm-hmm. And obviously,
sorry.
That specifically involves Rebecca, Reina, your character in this. The dynamic opposite Daniel. I would love to know, obviously, we see how it plays out on screen between David and Rebecca as characters, but behind the scenes, what was it like to develop that dynamic?
Oh, it was so lovely. From the beginning, we really collaborated. Like, we would have dinner together. We got there a month before shooting, and we were doing lots of stunt training together, but we would just have dinner, talk about our characters, talk about backstory a lot. And he's just so warm and collaborative, so it was honestly really easy. And he just is very fatherly. I've been saying this, but he's just such a dad. It's just his vibe. So it's so easy to slip into that.
Mm-hmm. And I often ask this question to people who are doing work that is adapting source material. Obviously, Butterfly is a comic to begin with. Mm-hmm. A lot of actors will just say, well, it's all on the page. Was there anything beyond the script that helped you get into your respective characters? When you went back into the source material, the comic specifically, or even just asking Daniel questions, because I know this is a huge passion project for him. His production company worked on it. He was an EP. How did you dive into your characters beyond just what was on the page?
One thing that was really interesting to me that was beyond the source material was moving the setting of the show to Seoul. And that's not how the original graphic novel is. And I think Korea is one of those places that hasn't been overshot, and I was really excited not just to make a show set there, but also to go there myself. We shot there for 6 months. It's an amazing country. I was so undereducated on the culture, the food, the art, the music, the beauty, and there's just like, they're having such a renaissance, and it was really fun to be there for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the environment really helped bring us all into it, especially for Rebecca's character. I feel like she's an Asian American that was raised in America and hadn't been to Korea in a very long time. So I, as an actor, felt very like fish out of water, like, whoa, what is this? And that bled into the character. And Daniel and I specifically, we got to go to so many cool locations. And just running around in these alleys and in these like abandoned warehouses, it was so immersive. I feel like it kind of just brought us right into the story.
Yeah, I love shooting on location. Isn't it the best thing?
It's the best. Especially a location you've never been to before.
Yeah, Seoul, it's funny, I've never ventured beyond Ireland. Like that further west is like so foreign to me, but I've seen Seoul so much in feature films. It's kind of become like a hub city for a lot of these bigger productions. Reina, there's a line in the trailer where your character Rebecca says, I wonder what it would feel like in reference to jumping off of a building, and there's a little bit of a hesitation of like, why would you even think about that? I can only imagine being on a production like this. You obviously referenced going to Seoul to shoot, that you had many of those moments as an actor, being able to fulfill wondering what something would feel like. Are there any stories that stick out to you where when you first got this project, you had that notion of, I wonder what that would feel like, and you got to actually fulfill it?
Great question. I hadn't done something so action-packed before, so it was getting to dive into expressing a character through action and violence was something that I was really excited about, and I definitely got to experience that through the show.
Were there any memorable fight sequences that
The elevator, for sure. The elevator, and that was like earlier on in production.
Yeah, that was right near the beginning.
Yeah, you know what though? Like, we shot some of that in the beginning, and then I feel like in the end, there was another set that we had on a sound stage where we were shooting more of it. So it was kind of throughout the production, and it was really intense and so much fun. I loved it.
Yeah, you get to act out things that you would never do in real life. At least I would assume.
Hopefully.
I assume not, yeah. Piper, specifically when it comes to the relationship between Juno and Rebecca, Am I misinterpreting to say there's almost a little bit of a motherly daughter dynamic?
Definitely. I feel like Rebecca is the star, and my own son is a little bit of a disappointment, and it can be that dynamic in families, the favorite kid, and I really protect her and care about her and want to push her like those parents on the side of the field. When you watch high school sports, there's that one parent who's screaming, like, that's Juno. And I really wanted to make sure that my dynamic with Rebecca is very different than my dynamic with Oliver, who, although I want him to be more like me, is not living up to his full potential.
I'll wrap with this, guys. Daniel Dae Kim, obviously this is a huge passion project for him. I referenced earlier his production company. He's an EP on it, and it's introducing a lot of people to American cinema. I just talked with Tae-hee, who this is their first Western project. She's only done Korean cinema. How does it feel as actors to be a part of something like this that is ushering in so many new names to the forefront of new audiences like that? Do you feel an extra sense of responsibility as talent?
I feel really proud. Yeah. I mean, like with Parasite won the Oscar. There are so many films that are coming out of Korea right now that are at such a high level. I feel really honored to be working.
And so accessible thanks to streaming too.
Totally.
Yeah,
and so I think American audiences already are like hungry for more. Squid Game, on the television side, like there's a lot of things that are coming out of this country and their culture that are incredible. And it's really fun to be doing something that's an American and Korea together.
Yeah, Daniel always said from the beginning that a huge aspect of making this show was creating a bridge between America and Korea, and I think we really did that, and that is really exciting. I'm really excited to see like other projects that are doing the same thing and really just educating people on different cultures and really diving into that. I love that it's bilingual too. It's not just a foreign, you're not like just reading subtitles.
Totally.
And that makes it more accessible to some people who maybe find that a bit intimidating at first. And I love that. There's such great foreign cinema and TV shows that we can all dive into and be introduced to more. And I love that we're doing that.
Congratulations, this is your first Hollywood production. Obviously, all your credits before this were in Korean cinema. I'd love to know some of the differences you found between making a production here in America versus making one in Korea.
사실 촬영 현장 굉장히 비슷했어요. 거의 다른 점이 없었는데 한 가지는 다른 점은 이제 배우들 각자 모두에게 개인 트레일러가 제공이 돼서 그 안에서 대기하면서 대본을 보다가 침대에서 편하게 자기도 하고 쉬기도 하면서 대기 시간을 굉장히 편안하게 보냈고요. 그리고 대본적인 면에서 한국은 사실 첫 회부터 마지막 회까지 다 한꺼번에 나온 상태에서 촬영을 들어가는 경우가 별로 없거든요. 근데 우리 작품은 6부까지 마지막 회까지 이제 다 나온 상태에서 촬영이 들어가니까 배우로서는 그게 굉장히 장점이었고, 그래서 한국 이제 작가님들은 대부분 이제 남은 에피소드를 집에서 이제 열심히 집필을 하셔야 돼서 촬영 현장에 자주 못 나오시는데, 스태프 차 작가님은 이제 한국 현장을 보러 미국에서부터 오셨잖아요. 그래서 한국에 머무르는 기간 동안은 거의 촬영 현장에 매일 나오셨던 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 배우들이 대사하는 걸 들어보시고 조금이라도 더 자연스럽게 더 나은 표현으로 계속 바꿔주셨는데, 사실 제가 첫 촬영이 데이비드랑 이제 전화로 이제 영어로 전화 통화하는 씬이었어요. 근데 이제 대사를 들어보시고 한두 문장 정도를 바꿔주셨어요, 표현을. 근데 그게 한국어였으면 사실 바꾸는 게 그렇게 어렵지 않았을 텐데 혼자서 너무 영어로 연습을 열심히 해서 이제 현장을 간 상태다 보니까 이렇게 한두 문장 살짝 바뀌는 게 굉장히 헷갈리더라고요. 그래서 조금 당황했지만 그래도 또 옆에서 데니얼 다에 킴 씨가 열심히 도와주시고, 사실 그 전화 통화하는 역할이면은 안 나오셔도 되거든요, 현장에. 근데 저기 멀리서 이제 소파 뒤에 숨어서 제 이제 대사를 받아주시면서 도와주셔서 씬을 무사히 이제 첫 씬을 마칠 수가 있었고.
Very thorough. I appreciate that answer. I'm glad you brought up Daniel, because obviously this is a huge passion project for him. He's one of the most iconic names in Korean cinema. He was on the 2025 Time Most Influential People list. Like, this is one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Getting to work with him, you kind of touched on it briefly there. I'd love to know if you had any behind the scenes stories with Daniel, any advice that he gave you, any moments that really stuck with you as an actress.
When I first met him, it was in a Zoom meeting, and he was wearing glasses and smiling. He seemed really intelligent and nice. I remember there were our producer Ken and our writer Steph and a few other people, but there was not an interpreter. So only Daniel was able to understand my Korean and translate it for me. So since then, he's been such a huge support to me. He's been always support to me, and he always encouraged me and gave me a lot of helpful advice, because it was not that easy for my English lines were not that easy for me. So I just kept asking him how my English lines were, and he just had to keep reassuring me. He was kind of first to say, "Oh, your English lines were great. You did such a good job." So it made me feel so confident.
Your English is great here, so I'm very impressed. And there's something very special about meeting someone where they are when it comes to their native language. My family's from Ireland, and Gaelic is a little bit of a lost language, but my relatives still speak it, and I know a little bit, and their eyes just light up whenever you're able to speak in their native tongue. So it's great that you and Daniel had that moment. I'll wrap with this. Your character, there's nothing public about your character. There's no confirmation on the name and what you're playing. What can you tease about your role in Butterfly?
I played my character Unju, who is David's wife in Korea. He is very smart and realistic Korean woman in her 40s. And She is very strong-minded and savvy. I love my character.
You ever throw someone off a roof?
I wonder what that'd feel like.
Why would you wonder that?
I didn't say I'd do it.